All right, Hannah, we're going to watch our backstroke here. As we're watching the backstroke, as we go over the backstroke, make sure you check the email for the notes that we put in there. Different things that we've seen that we think you can improve upon, things that we're seeing that we think you are doing really, really well on. It's always a good opportunity to read those either before or after a practice, even before or after at a meet or during a meet even. And that's a great shoulder roll. Like what we're seeing real quick here. So take some time, watch the videos as often as you can, but keep in mind that those little notes are also good to check up on if you don't have time always to read all that stuff. All right? Let's kind of start this over. We'll kind of start over from there. All right, so the first thing is we're about halfway through that stroke. Right here, you've got a good drop at the elbow and that hand starting to come up, which is really where you generate the most speed and the power in that backstroke. So that looks really, really good. On that left side, hand entry enters with that pinky. Again, you're starting to drop that elbow and you're pushing that water all the way back towards that wall, really throwing it towards your feet, which is really what helps pull you through that water. Good job of finishing your stroke at your hip. Be careful here. We've seen a couple of kids do this where they kind of bend that wrist as they're coming up. So really, instead of actually finishing that stroke and getting your thumb out, you finish that stroke almost, then you stop, and you go palm down and top of your hand up, and you just kind of rotate that wrist and you kind of flatten out as you come through. So work on making sure you keep that thumb and that wrist and that basically hand all in line with your forearm. Don't let it bend so much there. Really good job on that pull out to your right side. That looks so good. The other thing we can see is this shoulder is down. This shoulder here could be up a little bit higher as we do that above water recovery on the left side. As we get through back here in the entry. Good job of rolling so deep. But again, you can kind of see here, and we've got another view of the back, so we'll kind of check it out. But Hannah, if you look at your wrist right now while you're listening to the video, and just turn your wrist down so it's bent, that's almost what it looks like you're doing here. And if you were at practice the other night when we were watching the Chloe Sutton videos, that's one of the things she talked about even on freestyle. You don't want to turn that wrist. Take your hand now, point it out so that your fingers are pointed out all in line with your forearm and your elbow, and that's how you want to keep that wrist, okay? Got to think about what that pull is looking like. Kick looks good, looks nice and steady. Okay. So we want just a little bit. All right, so here we are at the start of the stroke. You can tell that wrist is bent, right? Now all of a sudden here, that's right in line with where it needs to be. This is great. All right, so the first half of that stroke, you're kind of bending that wrist, but then you get to the second half of that stroke, and your arm opens up to exactly where we want it. This is how we want to keep it all the way through. You enter that hand, don't let the wrist bend, let the elbow drop, keep your hand pushing towards the opposite end of the pool. Over here, we like how your fingertips are open just a little bit. That helps widen those paddles. This is a perfect example of how your palm is down. So really from basically here all the way up to here, you've not really pulled any water. You're just letting that hand follow. Make sure you really throw that water all the way through. You definitely roll really, really well, Hannah, and you keep those legs kicking excellently. All right, on that turn, two things. Well, one, don't look at the wall. When you look at the wall, you risk more of a chance of actually gliding in the wall and doing a non-continuous turn. So let's make sure we're not looking for the wall quite so much. Keep those eyes down. The other thing is those hands are already at your hips and you haven't really started that flip yet. So you've got to start a little bit earlier. All right, as you start your flip here, that's perfect. That looks good. But your palms are facing up. Right here, what we're going to see you do is face those palms down. Basically throw water towards your face as best you can. So turn those palms down a little bit. It helps bring those legs over. You can see the whole time your palms are up. The other thing is don't look towards those knees and towards that wall. Keep your head up. Let those legs kind of drive over. You don't want to curl yourself up in too much of a ball there. Feet hit the wall, and that's a good body line right there. Great streamline with your arms, but look at your head and see how high up that is. You want to lay that head back so it's just laying and resting right between those arms. Okay, so don't lift that head up. I do think part of the reason we see people do that is I know you get water in your nose, but you got to try to ignore it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good dolphin kicks. Now, when we're done with the dolphin kicks, what should we do with those legs? I didn't hear you answer, but I'm assuming you probably said flutter kick. And if you didn't say flutter kick, flutter kick. 6 dolphin kicks, then break in the fast flutter kick and get that stroke moving a little bit. You can see that your arm here is about halfway above the water, not pulling. Your left arm, I think, has just started to pull. Your head is above the water, and your legs don't look like they're doing anything other than just kind of dragging. Got to get those legs up, kicking a little bit better, and get that first stroke a little bit better. Oh, your hand was a little bit closer than I thought. I missed that. But let me rewind a little bit and show you. I think I paused a little bit early. Oh, you know what? I missed that hand pull. All right, so my apologies. You did start your breakout pretty early. That was good, but this hand was up way too high. So let's make sure we get that hand. And this hand, while it's at your hip, it's kind of stuck. So you've got to make sure it's up and your body's up a little bit better so you're able to get that stroke right away. And be careful not over bending your knees on the kick. Just keep it a little more relaxed, Hannah. Great job.